I can hear you now. The volume was off.
Okay, awesome. So, the way I'm going to do this morning, or afternoon, evening, is I'm going to do a brief introduction, and then we're going to get into it, brother. You can be free on this podcast to really express your heart, vision, just the mantle for ministry God has put on your life. Do know that a predominant section of our target audience is about 18 to about 28. So you have an opportunity to pour into your younger self, as I like to call it.
Awesome. Okay.
All right, so I'm going to do a brief introduction, and then I'm going to bring you in, and then we're going to get started.
Perfect.
You got your seatbelt locked and loaded, ready to go?
Yes, sir.
All right, 2, 3, 2, 1. All right, everybody, this is Anthony Mitchell coming back with another edition of the Endzone Club, where, as you guys know, we have conversation that is designed to push you from walking into potential to actually fulfilling your purpose. And today, guys, I've got a special guest who is the Da Vinci of Christian comic books. But before I bring him in, of course, I got to do my preliminaries that lets you know wherever you are listening to this podcast, please like, share, rate, subscribe, share it with a friend, because after today's content, you're going to want to make sure you get this into the ears of your listeners. But with that said, you guys have heard enough from me. Let me give the platform to my special guest. Let me allow him to introduce himself, and let's get this holy party started. Who do I have with me today?
Good afternoon, everyone. How you doing? My name is Chivas Davis, best-selling author, speaker, and all-around entrepreneur. Looking forward to having a great conversation on the day.
You know, Mr. Chivas, I got to be honest with you. Before I even hit you with the million-dollar questions, I just want to soften it with a blow, and I have to know, did you see Black Panther?
I did not yet. Reason being,
Awesome.
all right, reason being is because, we've got to see it with my family, and I'm not with them right now, so I'm waiting for the opportunity.
Traditionally, I do have to throw this out. I am a comic book fan myself, which was why I really saw your vision and fell in love with it. So I like to judge people, and my guests especially, based on this one question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
DC or Marvel?
Always Marvel.
Okay, you're okay with me. So with that said, I can proceed with questioning. But I do have to get on a lighthearted note. I know that both of us are comic book fans. We love the art of storytelling. I'm also a fellow artist, but not much about me, but more about you. Can you go back a little in your past and kind of just build a platform? What got you from where you were to where you are now as a comic book designer and best-selling artist?
Yeah, definitely. It started off with my journey when I was about 6 years old. I was at a summer camp, and I seen a ninja on the wall. And I said, man, that ninja looks great. I wish I can draw it. So I asked the counselor for a pen or a pencil, and I started to draw it. And it started to come out nice. And then some kids started coming in from outside and said, hey, Chivas, you can draw? I was like, I guess I can. They're like, well, can you draw me a ninja too? I'm like, sure, just give me $1 and I'll draw you one. So that day I made about $2.50, was able to be able to buy some sodas and some donuts from the little vending area. And then that next school year when I got back, I kind of fell in love with drawing. And my art teacher there, she said, you don't need to be at a regular school. You need to go to a specialized art school so you can develop your skills. And so I ended up having to make a portfolio that year and submitted it to, in Miami, it's called a magnet art program, which is about, the expressive arts, music, art, dance, and drama. And so they have select schools that have those opportunities for those individuals. And so I matriculated to another school where I was, taught and trained and went to art classes and art museums and all that, and kind of developed my skills as an artist. And then around about 5th grade, my dad tried to get me to read these books, and I just, they were boring. And then I discovered comic books. And it's been all uphill from there, to be honest with you. I started creating my own books, creating my own characters, and I just never stopped. I never stopped.
So I have to unpack something you just said, because I talked about a similar story with myself. So prior to the day you saw Ninja
I didn't. I didn't know any time previous to that moment about drawing or painting or coloring or anything. I don't remember anything art related. If there was, that moment defined me as an artist. I would say that much.
You know, something I'm a firm believer is in this idea that our gifts make room for us. It's almost like sometimes when we're ready, they present themselves. So in your case, you being an artist, this gift presents itself to you. Now, let me ask you something. You mentioned growing up in the Miami area. How much of your gift probably shielded you a lot from some of the pitfalls in that area?
Well, for me, art was my way to connect one with myself. I think a lot of problems we have with youth these days, they don't have a connection with themselves. And not only that, but art also built me a community because all of my friends were artists. So we had a relatability that was different than, you know, drugs, alcohol, ganging, and doing those type of things. My community was artists. So we were kind of art nerds. So nerds, you know, kind of stay to themselves anyway. And so being able to have that art community around me, it kind of helped me excel in my expertise as an artist. Not only that, but it challenged me because there were some artists that were better than me in my class. So it pushed me to be a better artist. And so it helped me, you know, stay within that realm. And then with the magnet program, you can go from school to school to school with the same group of kids. So the kids I went to elementary with, I also went to middle school with, then I also went to high school with, and then my best friends ended up going to the same college with me. So being able to have that type of scenario kind of just helped propel me to be a better individual and a better artist.
I like that. And that kind of just brings me to my next question, because I'm fine-tuning your vision as I'm hearing you expressing basically how God allowed that gift to provide you an outlet. And that's something we're really big on. We feel like a lot of times kids that don't have an outlet of expression in a positive way, a lot of times the streets or this life, this culture will present them with an outlet. For yourself, instead of being a comic book artist, how did you take this gift and get it to what you're doing now? Kind of share that portion of the journey, because I'm really curious to know what that sounds like.
Oh, yes, indeed. As you said before, our gifts will make room for us, but we also have to be able to see the opportunity that comes with the gift that's making the room for us. Sometimes our gift will make room for us, but then we'll close the door to the room. And so it's important that we keep that door open and walk through it. And so what happened with me is after I finished college, I have a degree in computer art and animation from Savannah College of Art and Design. And when I got back, there was a shift between two-dimensional animation and three-dimensional animation. And so what's happening was, as I was graduating, all the studios were closing their 2D animation studios and opening up 3D animation studios. And I said, I'm not going to go get another degree and learn all of the things about 3D animation, because my passion and love is for 2D animation. And just so you can know, 2D animation is animation that's Bugs Bunny and that style, and 3D is Toy Story. And so what happened is I ended up getting a job as a substitute teacher, maybe like a year and a half out of college, and I noticed that there was no connection for kids with God or reading the Bible. So I would poll kids, how many of you guys been to church? And maybe one or two hands. How many of you guys read the Bible? Maybe one or two hands. And this is a room of 35 kids. And so what happened is I figured that there was a disconnect somewhere. And the kids say, we want to know about God, we want to know about the Bible, but our parents are not teaching us. So I said, let me create something that's cool and that's going to be able to be relatable to what their situation is. And so I created the comic book, The Whole Armor, back in 2006, when I realized that there was a gap between the spiritual connection from our youth. So that was the beginning of the genesis of that part of the story.
Talk more. I don't want to jump away from the whole armor concept. Talk a little more about what went into developing the characters and gaining the confidence, not just to, in your mind, see a need, try to address the need through your gift, but now to have the confidence to put that gift in front of people in a way that they can relate with the messaging. Talk about that portion of the journey as well.
Yes, indeed. So as I was creating and developing the character, it's my belief that the lie is the first sin that we all run into. You know, when we're babies, you say, "Did you eat that cookie?" No. And so I knew that the first issue was going to be about lying, because it's the easiest sin for us to commit, the easiest thing for us to do, and everybody does it. And a lot of people just do it so fluently that you can never know the truth. And so being a Christian, you know, for so long, I kind of took my skills of studying the Bible, my skills as an artist, and my relatability with young people to kind of develop this book. And so the same classes that I was asking the questions about reading the Bible and going to church were the same audience that I would ask questions about what I'm drawing. So they saw me drawing the book throughout the school year, and they would ask questions, give me advice, what they needed to know. So I had my audience in front of me the whole time, so I didn't have to guess, you know, who's going to enjoy this part. Should I say this or should I say that? And so I had my group just built into the whole scenario. And so as I developed the book, they were excited. So they would ask for copies of the drawings so they can color on them. They would say, you know, Ms. Davis can't wait till the book come out and be the first one to buy it. And these were middle school kids, and it was so exciting. So they poured back into me and gave me the confidence to keep going. Because, you know, as an artist, you may be working on something, you're like, man, this is taking too long, forget it, I'll stop. But they were encouraging me throughout the school year to keep pushing to make sure I finish it, because they knew what the goal was for me from the beginning.
So during that process, as you're building this whole armor concept and you're developing characters and everybody's relating with it, were you doing this all by yourself, or what did your team look like? I'm trying to see how you were able to really push this vision out, because I think a lot of times, a lot of people have great ideas, but a lot of the areas where they're lacking is, first of all, belief in their gift, and then second of all, that village that's going to help them push something from just being a good idea to an actual, you know, something of fruition. How did you do that?
Well, for me, I had it was just me. It was a vision that God gave to me, and I couldn't take anybody on the ride with me at the particular point, nor could I have or depend on anyone to do what was inside of me. So what happened is I just was drawing. You know, I would spend the extra time I needed drawing and just putting myself into it. And there was really no team that I can you know, count on for this particular thing. So I didn't develop a team until maybe issue number 4 or 5, and I only reached out because it was just taking so long to be able to, you know, do the whole process while, you know, having a family and working. And so I didn't reach out to anybody until issue 4 and 5 and 6, you know, to kind of build up the team. So I actually had to teach myself how to color digitally, how to ink and draw. All those things were just developed, you know, through the process, researching YouTube, buying books from, at the time, Barnes and Nobles, just learning and developing new skills just to be able to create. So if a person is trying to do something, it's imperative that they dig deep in themselves and just do it. We learn what we need to do by doing it, not by somebody telling us or going to college or whatever. What we need to learn to do, we have to just do sometimes. And, you know, as the Bible says, faith without works is dead. We may have faith that we can do it, but we have to put the work in order for that to come to fruition.
So the next portion of this, staying in the same vein, that I do want to ask you, for all the characters that you've developed, which one of the storylines